friends, welcome into the Early Edge here with RJ White in studio. I'm Claudia Bellofatto. Will Brinson will be joining us. This is the Week 6 edition brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Make it legendary. We'll bring Will in here. We're going to run through Thursday Night Football bets first and then get to the entirety of the Week 6 slate. I do have to mention off the top here, it was a week for the dogs, guys. In Week 5, dogs went 9-5. Not only covering the spread, but also outright, RJ.
Yeah, and wiping out a lot of Survivor entries along the way. I know the two most popular Survivor entries in the Circa Survivor were eliminated. So it's going to be an interesting week moving forward for that pool. And
6 double-digit comebacks. It was a sweat pretty much every other game, Will.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, the Panthers looked like they were dead against the Dolphins. The Titans were gift-wrapped by the Cardinals, a win there, as RJ mentioned. Survivor pools wiped out. Like 60% of every Survivor pool was taken out in Week 5 between Thursday and Sunday.
How you doing, RJ? We good?
I'm out. I had the Rams.
Yeah.
It was an unfortunate loss. Felt like it should have been a win, but you're going to have those every year.
You will. Will? How you doing?
I had 6 entries in total across a couple different pools. 3 on the Rams, obviously those are dead. 3 on the Colts, who look very, very much legitimate, and so still a little alive in those, but feeling a little nervous.
Okay. All right, so if you're out there and you're not in Survivor anymore, you've lost any other contests, there's always Thursday Night Football, which we have tomorrow. We've got the Eagles, we've got the Giants. Eagles laying 7.5 in this spot on the road. Total at 41. Eagles coming off their first loss to the Broncos. We're sort of seeing that non-explosiveness, lack of offense catch up to them against a tough defense there. Giants coming off a loss to the Saints, struggling clearly without Malik Neighbors. We sort of knew that was going to happen. RJ, I'll come to you first. Of course, we're getting over that key number of 7. The look ahead was 7. Where do you lean here?
Yeah, I'm leaning to the Giants. The power ratings say that 7.5 is the right number, but we might still be overrating Philly a bit. I mean, they have a negative 0.9 yards per play differential. That's worse than the Giants, and everybody considers the Giants as one of the worst teams over the first 5 weeks. So their loss to the Saints was closer than the final score. It came down to 1 long pass, 1 long fumble return for a touchdown, and 5 turnovers overall. And I don't think the turnover issues are going to be that extreme very often. So if they protect the ball here, they might even be live for a outright upset and mess up some more Survivor pools. So we'll see if that happens.
Will, do we agree? I know you're taking the points. Could you see an outright win here?
Yeah, I think that's entirely possible. I mean, remember, Phillies, we look at the yards per play, 29th in the NFL. This offense has not been very good. It's been very predictable, too. There's some stats out there, like when Jalen Hurts is in shotgun, they're passing 70% of the time. When he's under center, they're running 80% of the time, et cetera. And so the play calling hasn't developed the way that we thought it would. Just, natural attrition through, winning a lot of games, and your play caller moves on. Kellen Moore, it's clearly been a huge difference with him in New Orleans this year. And I just think, to RJ's point, if you watch that Giants-Saints game, I mean, there's just some turnovers that you aren't going to see every week from the Giants. It also looks like Darius Slayton ruled out for this game, but Tyrone Tracy back. I think that helps the run game quite a bit. And I just think, even though it's been Donovan McNabb was the quarterback of the Eagles the last time that the Giants beat them in primetime, which is insane. And obviously Eli Manning, the quarterback for the Giants, but so I don't know if a win is necessarily likely here, but I do think the Giants can find a way to cover it against a very Eagles team that lacks explosion.
Yeah, it certainly feels like a lot of points, especially when I'm looking at this total, which I'm going to go under on at 41. We already talked about all of the issues with the Eagles. They lead the league in negative plays. They're bottom 10 in pace. I think they're going to slow it down and give the ball to the only real consistent guy, although Barkley hasn't had a ton going for him on the ground. I see the Eagles slowing it down. And then when it comes to the Giants, you talked about Tracy. We know Malik Neighbors is out. It's just going to be Scattaboo, Theo Johnson, short yardage, check down situations, because that's the best way to really protect the ball in my mind. I still like this Giants front. I think that could give Jalen Hurts, who has been seeing some decent pressure, some issues. So I'm going to go under 41 there. Any players come to mind for you guys before we go to break? I know we have our prop show on Friday, same time, same place. I looked at Theo Johnson because Jackson Dart found him twice in the end zone. Again, those short yardage situations. Anybody else stand out to you in this matchup?
Well, it's funny, the Theo Johnson thing, as we were saying, we were watching the game Sunday. Once he got that second touchdown, we're like, okay, it's tight end week. Bet all the tight ends live because they're all scoring touchdowns here. And that's what turned out to be the case. We saw a lot of them there. I would look toward Wan'Dale Robinson. I know he's the biggest target they have, especially with Slayton out. Feels like he's going to get double-digit targets no matter what in this game. So feels like especially look to the receptions prop. I think over receptions is the way to go.
Will, any early look ahead?
Yeah, if you want a little anytime touchdown prop, I think Jackson Dart 3-1 is a pretty good look. I mean, this is someone who scored a rushing touchdown in his first game, of course, ran the ball pretty effectively, stands at one fumble against the Saints, and I wouldn't be surprised, knowing it's prime time, knowing what a win would mean for job security for Brian Dable and Joe Shane, if they didn't cook up some sort of read option stuff, some utilize Dart's legs in the red zone against this Eagles defense.
All right, so we like the points, we like the under, and a few options for props there. That's Thursday Night Football. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're running through the entirety of this Week 6 slate, and that squad right there, can they get a win? We'll see. Welcome back to the Early Edge NFL Pick Show, Week 6 edition. Will, RJ, Claudia here with you. We broke down Thursday Night Football. Now we'll break down this Sunday slate, and I just love these London games because you wake up, football. Get your tea, get your coffee ready. We got the Broncos laying 7.5 against the Jets. Total set at 43 in the hook. Kickoff set for 9:30 in the morning Eastern. Broncos coming off that win, as we just discussed, against the Eagles. Jets yet to have a win, Will. Where are you leaning here? What do you like?
I like the Broncos team total in this spot. I mean, the Jets have given up, I believe, 27 points to every single opponent. They can't play any defense whatsoever. They have shown a little bit of life on offense at times. They didn't show it against the Cowboys, but we saw it against the Dolphins. I think they'll struggle against the Broncos, but I also don't think that Sean Payton, we saw it against the Bengals in primetime Monday night at home. I know it's a different situation, but it's still an island game in London. And I think that Sean Payton will, against a bad defense, be very willing to let Bo Nix run it up. And hopefully that means lots of points for Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton on Greg's fabulous football team. Shout out to that fantasy team.
I mean, I'm on the under here, so I don't know how many points the Broncos will really put up. But that being said, RJ, 7.5 does feel like a lot. The look ahead was closer to 6, so we saw it push forward. In those situations, we like teasers.
Yeah, I'm teasing it down. I mean, I played it at -7. I still think that -7.5 is okay because I have it as an 8.5-point line. But better look at the numbers to tease it down, which I'm going to do with the Lions. I also do like a prop in there, feeding off of what Will said. That defense has been terrible. I mean, they can't stop anyone, especially throwing the ball. You just gave up 9 catches, 110 yards to Ryan Flournoy, which was like the big pickup now in fantasy leagues. But it's probably going to be like, a non-issue moving forward. Cortland Sutton has topped 60.5 receiving yards in 4 of 5 games, including an uncompetitive win against Cincy. Even if this is an uncompetitive win against this defense, I think he gets over 60.5. So I would play his over.
Yeah, I mean, I would lay 7. I'd lay 7.5 with the Broncos. I think that they can cash that, but they're not going to have to put up a ton of points because their defense can win games, which is why I'm just going to go with the under here at 43 in the hook. Because of everything I said about their defense the last 5 weeks, really. One of the best in pressure rate, top 5, leading the league with 21 sacks. They're going to get pressure on Justin Fields, who has had 0 consistency, having an issue with sacks, getting hit at the second highest rate, only behind Cam Ward, and we know how that has gone. And if your quarterback play isn't pretty, well, at least you have a talented running back, right? There's been 0 consistency with Breece Hall. It's either he has a 20-yard game or a 100-yard game. I don't see the ball moving down the field really on either side successfully. I'm going to go under 43 and the hook. We'll move on to the Browns and Steelers. Steelers laying 5, total set at 38 and the hook. Browns coming off a London loss to the Vikings. First start for Dylan Gabriel there, which I'm curious to see what you guys thought on that debut. And then the Steelers coming off a bye. The last game they played was in London. It was a win over the Vikings. RJ, you're looking at the Steelers here laying the 5.
Yeah, I like the 5. It's creeping up. It's 5.5 most places now. I would still take the 5.5. The look ahead was 6, and the market was impressed by the Browns offense, I guess, to move it down with Gabriel at quarterback. I don't know that I necessarily was. It seemed to me he was very limited downfield, which we tend to see sometimes with rookies. We saw it with Bo Nix last year. Eventually, he opened it up and started going down the field. I don't like his odds in Pittsburgh against a defense that is getting healthier, especially, and played really well in their last game before the bye. We saw in that London game. Pittsburgh's offense could, of course, struggle against a great Cleveland defense. We've seen it time and again with how well that defense is playing. But Aaron Rodgers has made enough plays for me so far to get his team to 3-1 that I think he'll be able to cover this number. So I think the line should be back to 6, and anything you play underneath that when you're laying the points with the Steelers is a good value.
Yeah, I agree there. I think it's certainly hard to pick spots when you've only seen one game from a quarterback, despite all of the college experience he has. With that being said, I'm just going to look to the prop market, and I'm going to go with who is the best friend of a rookie quarterback. It's their tight end, David Njoku. We're going to go over on receiving. I saw it open this morning. Too low at 34 in the hook. He had his highest target rate last week when we saw Dylan Gabriel under center with 9, had 6, 467, and a touchdown. I think the targets are going to be plentiful. And then you have the matchup advantage as well. Steelers haven't been great against tight ends up to this point, allowing over 5 catches a game, 10th most yards. We saw TJ Hawk with the Vikings have 4 catches last week. The Patriots and Hunter Henry, he went off 8 catches for 90 and 2 touchdowns. So staying away from sides, staying away from totals. I'm looking to David Njoku. And Will, what say you?
I'm going to take the Browns in this spot. I was actually, I'm not going to act like, Dylan Gabriel's the second coming of, I don't know if there's a Browns quarterback who can be this. No. I thought he played pretty well considering the circumstances, considering the defense he went up against. They really should have won that game. And this Browns defense is still playing some really, really good football. I think that they can get after Aaron Rodgers, limit what the Steelers do on offense. My biggest concern here is that the Steelers took their bye coming back from overseas, and they've had a week to rest. And the Browns are doing the thing where you come back from a London game with no bye, which I don't love. I understand some of the thought process of it. You don't want to just burn the bye early in the season, because you were overseas. But I think I'm going to take the Browns to keep this one close. Pittsburgh wins by a field goal.
And again, it all comes down to their defense, really. Like I said, with the Broncos, don't trust their offense a whole lot, trust their defense. Same exact spot with the Browns, #1 in pass rush win rate right now. Let's move on to the Cardinals and the Colts. Colts laying 6.5, total set at 47 in the hook. We just saw a notification this morning from Shefty that Jonathan Gannon says Kyler Murray won't be practicing today with a foot injury. They're taking it day to day. Colts coming off that 40-6 win over the Raiders. Cardinals coming off a disgusting, mistake-ridden loss to the Titans, one of those comeback games nobody was expecting. Just a little PSA, if you're about to score a touchdown, wait till you score a touchdown before dropping the ball. Will, we'll come over to you first. Side total, what are you looking at here?
Yeah, also a little PSA. Maybe don't scream and get in your player's
that
face
too.
on the sidelines.
You will get fined.
Yeah, because it'll cost you 100 G's, Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah.
I actually think that could be like a decent route. I think we'll learn a lot about the Cardinals in this game because, you're playing a Colts team that is really good. At this point, I don't think we can look at Indianapolis with the way that they played, how Indiana Jones is going out there and slinging the ball, and how they're running it with Jonathan Taylor, and think anything other than the Colts are a top-tier team in the AFC. They've just proven that, especially when you look at all the injuries to the normal elite teams out there. I think you got to be probably a stay away. I would lean Cardinals here because I think they rally around everything that happened in that Tennessee loss and are able to maybe come through with some garbage time to cut this under a full touchdown. I think though with the Kyler Murray news, he didn't practice on Wednesday, so we don't know his status going forward, and you can't take the 6.5 if Kyler Murray is not going to play because this is going to jump above that key number of 7. So lean towards the Cardinals right now. Wouldn't play it until we know exactly what Kyler Murray and his status is.
And at MGM on Sunday, this open Colts 5.5. Of course, after those games, we saw this move about a point. This is also the 3rd consecutive loss at the buzzer for this Cardinal squad. So they've been in games. They should have won these games, RJ. Of course, Kyler Murray's status up in the air changes things. But as of right now, you like the points?
Yeah, I'm taking them just because the look ahead was 3.5, and I'm not going to make that major of an adjustment off a fluky loss where it should have been 28-3. This guy doesn't drop the ball, and we're not even having any of these conversations because they don't come back from that number. All three of Arizona's losses came on a field goal with zeros on the clock. They are not far from being 5-0. Haven't played like a 5-0 team, but there's a world where a few things go there differently. They're 5-0. So Indy's dominated 3 bad teams, played even games against 2 good teams. I'm not sure Arizona is a bad team at this point. So if Kyler's healthy, I'm taking the points.
Yeah, it's a lean for me on the other side just because we're under that key number of 7. I know there's been a big adjustment here. The defense for the Arizona has actually been more impressive than I thought it would. They've been pretty decent at limiting points. So that worries me a bit, but I think the Colts are just one of the most profitable teams at covering because they've been one of the most consistent teams on offense. All right, Chargers, Dolphins, Chargers laying 4.5, total set at 43 in the hook. Chargers coming off back-to-back losses, Giants, Terry McLaurin-less Commanders team, I should say. RJ, quick hitter on this one.
Yeah, I like the Dolphins plus 4.5. I don't think they're a good team. This is a big number on the road for a beat-up Chargers offense that may be down both tackles and top 2 running backs. Maybe that doesn't matter because Dolphins defense has played poorly, but Chargers offense just 25th in EPA per play, so I don't think they're going to cover this big number on the road.
Will, looking at the over?
Yeah, I'll take a little shot here at a low total, 43.5, not many points. This is still an explosive passing attack for the Chargers, and we know that the Dolphins can get down the field quickly with David Etienne and Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to look at Chargers first half minus 2.5. It's really just a play on the number. I think Chargers come out hungry, really upsetting over the last 2 weeks against much lesser opponents. Dolphins defense really is what I'm fading to. Last in defensive DVOA, bottom 5 in EPA against. And they're banged up a little bit on that secondary and front. Keep an eye on the injury report. But still, Chargers first half minus 2.5 feels pretty safe to me. All right, we're cruising through here week 6. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're running through the rest of this 1 p.m. slate here on the Early Edge. Hey friends, we're back here on the Early Edge running through the week 6 slate. Will, RJ, Claudia with you. Let's talk one of the most exciting teams in all of the NFL, the New England Patriots, laying 3.5 against the Saints. We've got a total of 46 here. Pats, of course, coming off that very exciting big primetime win over the AFC East King Bills. Saints coming off their first win of the season. So 2 very different scenarios here. Market did push this past that key number of 3 up to 3.5. And it looks like we're all on the good guys. RJ, I'll come to you first. Talk to me about New England.
I thought you were going to say the Saints for a minute when you're talking about the most exciting team. Like,
yeah.
They had that one big play, but you take that away, they had 4 yards per play without the Shaheed bomb. Benefited from those sloppy turnovers from the Giants. New England's won both road games they've played. They took apart the last bad team they faced, that Carolina game 2 weeks ago. I think they're going to cover this number, but I have it right around 3.5, 4. I like playing the first half minus 2.5 better. I think they'll go into the break with a lead there. So, yeah, we'll take them to be at least 3 points ahead at halftime.
And, Will, we don't love laying 3 in the hook, but I still feel comfortable with it. Do you?
Yeah, I don't think the hook on the 3 bothers me quite as much in 2025 as maybe it used to, just because you have more aggressive coaching, analytics in play, and all of that. By the way, I'm just glad we're allowed to talk about Drake May. If we were the North Carolina Tar Heels Twitter account, we wouldn't be allowed to mention Drake May or any of his great successes. I mean, because Lord knows Bill Belichick can't have that happen. Anywho, enough about them. No, I like the Patriots in this spot. I think if you look at the last couple of games from New England. Clearly, just an incredible win in primetime against the Bills. The Steelers game 2 weeks before that, they should have beaten Pittsburgh by double digits at home. They had turned the ball over on the 1 yard line twice. I mean, that never happens to teams. And then they demolished Carolina. So to RJ's point, yes, they can beat bad teams. They can beat good teams. Drake May is playing some really good football. I think, we talked about it early in the year how he was sort of acclimating to Josh McDaniels' playbook. And I think he's gotten there at this stage of the game. Stephon Diggs looks like kind of his old self. Maybe he's got a little bit left in the tank and not non-revenge games. And to me, it's time to unleash Travion Henderson. Like, cut this guy loose and let's have a big game from him. I think the Saints are probably just a bad football team that plays really fast and occasionally hits some big plays. New England should stuff that run game easily. I like the Patriots to win by double digits here.
Yeah, you mentioned Travion Henderson. I've been tooting that horn for 5 weeks straight now. I don't know why he didn't get the ball earlier. We never like to see an injury, but with Antonio Gibson out, although Vrabel says he's not punishing his running backs for fumbles, although you should be with Ramondre. Hopefully we see Travion Henderson a little bit earlier. When it comes to the defense, they're one of the best at stopping the run. Pass defense, you get Christian Gonzalez back. Spencer Rattler's actually not throwing picks. He's just not very accurate. He's not getting a ton of help in terms of protection. So I'm fading that Saints offense. We haven't seen any consistency there. And Drake Mayfield is playing like, whether you think he is or not, one of the best quarterbacks in the league when it comes to the second best completion percentage. The accuracy is there. He's extending plays with his legs, and we haven't even seen the most of what he's capable. I'm from New England, in case you couldn't tell. And capable of what he's doing there. He protects the ball. So I love how this Patriots team looks. I liked them to keep that game competitive with the Bills, who's one of the best teams in the NFL, if you ask me. So certainly against a Saints squad that has a lot of holes. Let's talk Cowboys and Panthers. Cowboys laying 3.5, total set at 49 in the hook, one of the highest totals on the board for the week. Cowboys got their second win over the Jets, so what does that really say? Panthers stole the game from Miami in the final 5 minutes, one of those big comeback wins. Will, tell me why you like the Panthers here.
Yeah, I just think it's too many points for a Cowboys team that's, back-to-back games on the road, going to Carolina, where the Carolina defense has been so much better. It's night and day for Carolina at home versus on the road. I think that when Carolina's in those friendly confines of Bank of America Stadium, they'll be able to limit the Cowboys a little bit. But more importantly, I just don't think that the Dallas defense we saw against the Jets is this, fixed unit that suddenly can stop anybody. I think Carolina should be able to run. And by the way, I know we laugh about my love for revenge games and spite and all of that, RJ. The Cowboys, everybody on the Cowboys, from the coaching staff to the management, ownership, has been talking about how they know this is a Rico Dowdle revenge game. And Rico Dowdle ran for 200 yards. It looked like Jim Brown out there against the Dolphins defense. The Cowboys defense is not very good either. I think we see a big Rico Dowdle game. Bryce Young hits Ted McMillan for a couple of play action shots. Panthers keep it within 3.5 in what should be a high-scoring affair.
RJ, is it a Rico day?
It's always a Rico day, when he's RB1. Look, my ratings had this at 1, so I should have been all over the Panthers at plus 3.5. I just couldn't do it. It's down to 3 now. And I was hesitant because this Dallas offense has been on fire the last few weeks. Will says, the Carolina defense has played better at home. They haven't faced Ryan Flournoy, okay? When you have Ryan Flournoy coming to town, you've got a scheme to take him away. I don't think the defense is that great, so I'm not going to count on them to cover. I think this could easily be a 3-point game or it could be a 7-point game. I'm going to lean to the Panthers team total over 23.5. I do think they're able to score points against this Cowboys defense that probably shouldn't, even with the Jets defense playing bad, they still got to 22, right? So I think the Panthers should be able to get to 24 at home.
Yeah, like I said, one of the higher totals. I'm going to go with the team total just on the other side. With the Cowboys, not a ton of faith in this Panthers defense just because they haven't really faced anybody. This is going to be the toughest opponent offensive-wise, and they're already allowing over 24 points a game. So Cowboys only need 26 or more. We've already seen them drop 40 twice. Dak's playing well. They're averaging over 30, leading the league in yards per game. I like the Cowboys to score 26 or more. Seahawks and Jags. Jags catching a point here, total set at 46 in the hook. Seahawks coming off a field goal walk-off loss to the Bucs. Jags coming off that Monday night win over the Chiefs. They're 4-1, yet, they're dogs at home.
Yeah, and this line moved a little bit when we saw the Jaguars win, right? And so it's right around, it's basically like, who do you think is going to win? And what should be a coin flip game? The Jaguars defense has been really good this year. And by the way, Jacksonville should be undefeated. They went for a 4th and 6 against Cincinnati in week 2, didn't get it. And Jake Browning, which in hindsight, it just looks ridiculous that he pulled off a 90-yard touchdown drive to beat the Jaguars. I think Jacksonville's got some mojo cooking here. Trevor Lawrence playing well. We finally saw Brian Thomas step up in week 5 and perform at the level we expect. They're scheming up stuff for Travis Hunter. Travis Etienne is running like a top 5 running back in the league right now. It's all kind of clicking for Jacksonville. And defensively, I think that they can slow down Sam Darnold. That crowd, I think Jacksonville is a secret home field advantage as well. I'll take the Jaguars just to win the game, but I'm not supremely confident in that.
Yeah, and I'm seeing this was flipped now. So this morning it was at 1. You got to lay 1 with the Jags. I was going to tease the Jags up to 7 because I felt like that was a great spot. I have a lot of faith in the Seahawks offense. Sam Darnold's playing at an elite level. They have a great backfield, but they do leave the door open in the fourth quarter. And I think the Jags' advantage comes in the trenches, which is why they could cover this, at least keep it within a score. Line moved away from me, though, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'll figure out. RJ, talk me into maybe why I should take the Seahawks instead.
Yeah, it's a tough game for me. I don't really love either side. I'm leaning to the Seahawks just because of the spot, right? The Jacksonville Jaguars coming off an emotional comeback victory over the Chiefs, flying high, thinking they could take on the world. Now they've got a non-conference opponent at home. I know it's not a seemingly pushover one because of the line in that game, but it does feel a little bit like a letdown spot for them. They're winning with this massive turnover advantage. Like for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, they were getting 3 turnovers a game, and we saw them get a key turnover there in that Chiefs game, brought it back for a touchdown. That's not going to happen every week, right? It's going to even out at some point. You don't go through a whole season getting 3 turnovers a game and getting the turnovers in all the right spots there. I think Seattle is the better team on both sides of the ball. I think the bad travel spot for them, going cross country, almost as far as you can go, is already baked into the line here. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to hope it goes up a tiny little bit, and then I might be looking to tease the Seahawks at plus 1.5 up to 7.5 at that point.
Okay. All right. So a few options there. Keep an eye on that line movement. Let's move on to the Rams and the Ravens. Rams laying 7.5. As we know, this Ravens squad is all sorts of banged up. Total at 45. Rams coming off that big overtime upset loss. Can't believe that happened still to Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne, basically, the Niners squad, who everybody was hurt. Ravens defense is bad as expected. I had that Texans team total, which cashed easy. Texans put up 44 on them, and the Ravens only managed 10 points there. Will, the Ravens are on pace right now to be the first team in history, which the on-pace stats through 5 weeks, whatever, call it what you want. But they're on pace to give up 600 points for the first time in NFL history. 600 points.
That's a lot of points, Claudia. And look, I think in this spot, you just have to be really cognizant of the injury reports, right? I mean, this is 7.5 points you're laying with the Rams team that, is not desperate at all, but certainly is stinging from that loss. They have the extra rest baked in. Matthew Stafford playing some incredible football right now. Puka Nacua, you're talking about all pace stats. He's on pace to shatter receiving records, which, of course, we see Calvin Johnson do it, Cooper Kupp do it, now Puka Nacua do it. That's because Matthew Stafford is the freaking kingmaker. I expect that, for me, I think I'll lean towards the Rams. But I think you really have to be careful because if the Ravens somehow get a good injury report, this is a team that is backed up against a corner. They're still the favorite to win that division, by the way, which is just wild considering their record and all the injuries. And so we have to know everything about everyone on that roster in terms of Lamar playing. Like who all is going to play before you can lay a full 7.5. I think it's a wait-and-see approach mostly in this game. Yeah,
that really just has to be the books trying to protect themselves. Another route you could go, I'm on a lot of team totals this week, but if you like the Rams, is to go over their team total. It's a minus 135 if you want to bring it down a point, which is what I did at 25 in the hook. You just mentioned how good this offense looks. They have it coming out of the backfield. Stafford right now looks like one of the best in the game. They've outgained every single opponent. He's being protected, one of the lowest pressure rates. 44 the Texans put up, 37 the Chiefs put up, 38 the Lions put up. The Rams have enough talent to put up 26 or more. So that's where I'm going to go. And RJ, you're going to lean the Rams here. Another way to take them in that first quarter.
Yeah, I'm taking the minus 2.5 in the first quarter. Maybe the defense will be a little bit healthier for the Ravens in this game, like Will is talking about. I still expect the Rams to put up some points after what Houston did to this Baltimore defense. Now I believe Houston is like second or third in the AFC in point differential with how bad the offense played early in the season. That's unbelievable, right? The Rams have extra time to stew over the loss. That should have been a win. I think they'll come out focused early and looking to make a statement. So I think they're going to have the three-point lead after the first quarter break. I don't see Cooper Rush having a lot of success against this Rams defense.
Okay, and the look ahead on this was the Rams laying 7.5. They reopened. BetMGM did on Sunday at that 7.5, and that's sort of where it stayed because we're all waiting for the injury report. All right, y'all, don't go anywhere. We've got more football coming up for Week 6. We break down the rest of the Sunday slate. We've got best bets at the end. Don't go anywhere. Back here on the early edge, we're running through the Week 6 slate. The 4 p.m. slate edition now. Will, RJ, Claudia with you. Will, we've got the Titans, we've got the Raiders. Raiders laying 4. Why are you already shaking your head? Raiders laying 4.5.
Game stinks.
Yeah, total set at 41 in the hook. It stinks. Yeah, we're all on the same side. We're going to take the points. I'm assuming just because the Raiders aren't good enough to be laying 4.5, Will?
I mean, is this game on CBS? In that case, it doesn't stink. It's a great game and you should watch it.
Yeah, great game.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, that's basically the case here. I mean, the Raiders should not be laying 4.5 points against anybody. This Raiders team right now, they are very much a Pete Carroll team that doesn't have the Pete Carroll personnel with them. And I think that's the biggest problem is they want to run on first and second down. Yeah. And if Ashley Genty runs through the Titans defense early on these drives, then great. That could work. Mm-hmm. But I liked what they did, getting him involved in the passing game. I don't think it necessarily mattered against a Colts team they couldn't slow down. Tennessee showing a little life on offense. The bottom line is you can't lay 4.5 points with the Raiders, I don't think, in any sort of spot, RJ.
Yeah, you certainly can't lay 6 either, right? And that's what we got it at SportsLine is Titans +6. No world that the Raiders should have been 6 there. So be sure to follow us over on SportsLine. Claudia's coming off a great Sunday. I had a really good Sunday as well over at SportsLine. And we lock in these great numbers when we see them, especially on Monday morning. So love the Titans at +6, still taking them at +4.5. I wouldn't make the Raiders more than 3 against anyone at home with the way that offense is playing with Colton Miller out. Geno had no shot against Indy without Brock Bowers. We don't know if he's going to be back. And Cam Ward actually looked pretty good pushing the ball downfield in the second half as they pulled that comeback off. So maybe he's starting to turn a corner. And if that's the case, Titans are going to be alive to win this game.
I mean, the Raiders put up 6 points alone, just 6 points against the Colts. Who set that line at 6? I don't know. RJ makes a great point, though. Get ahead of that line. I don't care, though. I'm still going to take the 4.5. I know the Titans just broke a 10-game skid, and it really wasn't all them. It was the mistakes by the Cardinals. But the Raiders aren't good enough, and the Raiders make the second most mistakes. They have the second most giveaways in the NFL. What did we see the Titans just do? Win because they capitalized off of those mistakes. So that's the only reason I'm going to take the points. I don't like either team, but I do think the Titans can take advantage of the mistakes. Bengals, Packers. Packers laying 14 here, total set at 44 in the hook. Packers coming off a bye, Bengals coming off a loss to the Lions. As we know, the big news here, 2 days later after that loss, they make a trade with the Browns, sending a 5th-round pick for Joe Flacco and a 6th-round pick. We know today, Will, that he will be getting the start. RJ, I'll send it over to you. 14 points is a lot.
Yeah, and I like the Bengals even before the Flacco trade. Green Bay was not playing like an elite team before the break. Gave up 15 to Washington in the fourth quarter, 13 to Cleveland in the fourth quarter, then 38 to Dallas in the last 30-plus minutes or so. This is not a team that can cover big numbers right now, so that's why I like the Bengals. And
we just saw Joe Flacco 2 weeks ago against this team. They won. I know you get a downgrade on defense, but you get an upgrade at receivers, Will.
Yeah, massive upgrade at receivers. I'm still going to stick with what I had in my column early in the week, which is Bengals team total under. And it's 14.5, which is just a really low team total. And I get it. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they feel like they might have some new life of Flacco there. But he's not going to be able to be protected behind that Bengals offensive line. The Bengals aren't going to be able to slow down the Packers offense either. And I think Green Bay, coming out of the bye after being embarrassed, runs the football a ton, forces Joe Flacco to be kind of perfect. He's not going to be kind of perfect in a new system, and I just don't think they're going to score many points in this game as the Packers run up the clock.
All right, let's wrap this up with Niners and Bucs. Will, I'll throw it back to you. Bucs laying 3 here, total set at 47 in the hook.
Yeah, I'm going to go with I think Tampa Bay, and I think this game is tough. I mean, the 49ers, should be this team that is just struggling to do anything, but Kyle Shanahan is that good of a coach, and you could slot guys in there. Plus, it's Mac Jones has to be enjoying all the struggles down in Chapel Hill as well, right? I mean, Nick Saban talking about how Mac wasn't given the right coaching in previous spots. I think the 49ers will be frisky, but I'll lay the 3 with the Bucs because Baker Mayfield's playing like a dog.
Yeah, well, I mean, RJ, they were 8.5 dogs against the Rams. They win outright. What's your angle on them this week?
Yeah, I thought 3 was the right line. Tough for me to play either side. I'm going to keep an eye on the San Francisco injury report and maybe take their team total over 22.5 because Mac Jones has shown he can move the ball and score points no matter who's at receiver for him.
Yeah, and if you can find a 21.5, which I did this morning, I'm going to do the same thing, same approach, go over there. They scored 23 through 4 quarters against the Rams with Mac Jones. I think they should stick with Mac Jones regardless. They missed this by the hook against a good Jags defense, so I do like this team total a lot. And Mac Jones completing 67% of his passes. How many touchdowns to 1 interception? 6 touchdowns to just 1 interception. So I do like the team total on the Niners. We've got even more games coming up, folks, because not only is it Sunday night football, not only Monday night football, but it's a Monday night football doubleheader. Don't go anywhere. We're back here on the Early Edge. We wrap up this week 6 edition of the Early Edge with Sunday Night Football and a Monday Night Football doubleheader. Claudia, Will, RJ with you. Let's talk this Sunday night matchup between the Lions and the Chiefs. We've got the Lions catching points here. Let's see what it's at now. Was that 2? Yeah, still at 2. So we got the Lions catching 2 here. They're at 4-1 on the season. Chiefs on a short week coming off the Monday night loss to the Jags. RJ, talk to me about your approach on this one.
Yeah, I think it's 2.5 in a lot of places. I would love the Lions at +3. I think they're the second best team in football, maybe even first. I haven't quite put them with the Bills yet. Chiefs offense starting to come around. Sloppy game, defensive letdown has them at 2-3. Desperate to win this game. I think that's the only angle that the Chiefs should be moving upwards. Like the spread was 1.5. Now it's going up. I like teasing the Lions to +8.5. They're the second half of my teaser with the Broncos. If I'm not getting the 3, if I am getting the 3, I'm just going to play the Lions straight.
And Will, I know you really like the Lions.
Yeah, I love the Lions in the spot. I think RJ's spot on. They might very well be the best team in football. You know, every year we come away looking back at a week 1 game that sort of looks like an anomaly. And I think that the Lions' offensive performance against the Packers, who do have a really good defense but have been up and down this season, may just be one of those games. The Lions have been on fire since that game, have not stopped scoring, have unleashed the offense. The coordinator departures and attrition look like it's drastically overblown. And we've seen the Lions as in a tougher spot go into Arrowhead to start the season with the Chiefs defending Super Bowl champions. The Lions went in there and won. I don't think Dan Campbell, I don't think Jared Goff, I don't think anybody's going to flinch. I think they can move the ball against the Chiefs, and I think the defense has a better chance of stopping Kansas City than Kansas City does stopping them.
Yeah, I definitely like the Lions. I'd play a money line. But if you want to play it safe, you can tease them. It's in a good spot. You get them up over a touchdown just because it's the Chiefs. We don't know. And their defense looked okay at times on Monday. They had a lot of mistakes, 13 penalties. They blew that 2-touchdown lead. So I'm just giving myself a little bit of wiggle room. Or you just go with the Lions team total, which has been cashing for me left and right. 24 in the hook. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're 4-1 to the over. They're leading the league with 35 points a game. So 2 options for you there. Monday Night Football, the first of 2. We've got the Bills, we've got the Falcons. Bills laying 4 on the road. Total set at 48 in the hook. RJ, you are leaning a prop here.
Yeah, the Bills dressed like the Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Like I mentioned to you beginning of the game, they played like the Raiders. So sloppy football. So do not dress like the Raiders, I think is the lesson you should get coming out of that game. Buffalo has given up at least 10 rush yards to every quarterback it's faced. That includes Tua Tagovailoa. That includes 2 Jets quarterbacks in the same game and 49 yards to Spencer Rattler. Penix doesn't run a ton, but he's had 21 yards in week 1, and he had 5-yard rushes each of the last 2 games. If he gets a couple of those, I think 10 yards is doable for him. His line is only 6.5 rush yards. Like playing the over on that.
Yeah, I like that. And Falcons coming off a bye, Will, you're looking to take the points with them.
Yeah, I mean, this is more of a play on the fact that Atlanta, is at home. It's prime time. We saw them show up and put together a really good defensive performance. Granted, you're not playing the Bills, you're playing the Vikings. But I think this Buffalo defense is still just lacking in terms of their ability to slow anybody down. Penix with those weapons, Bijan, and actually we all know how I feel about Bijan, right? Chris Stapleton singing in the background, like when I'm thinking about him. But it's an old bit. I think Bijan gets going against this Buffalo defense. I think the Falcons can keep it close enough where if they lose, it's just by a field goal. Buffalo has not been entirely dominant in primetime this season at all.
Yeah, it's funny because I did not think I would say the Atlanta defense worries me a little bit, but it does. They're one of the best teams right now at getting pressure on the quarterback, at limiting points on the board. That being said, they haven't faced Josh Allen and this Bills squad yet. Josh Allen facing the second lowest pressure rate, only behind Trevor Lawrence. Some of that is O-line, a lot of it having to do with his legs. I'm going to go with the Bills team total, 27 or more. It was 28 in the hook against the Patriots last week, so call it a dip if you want. I will buy it. We saw the Panthers, despite how good this Atlanta defense looks at times, we saw the Panthers and Bryce Young put up 30 on them. So I think Josh Allen can do the same. All right, Monday Night Football game 2. We've got the Bears. We've got the Commanders. Commanders laying 4.5. Bears coming off a bye. Commanders just took down Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Will, I'll come over to you first. What's your approach on this game?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by this line. It's kind of I'm worried I'm the donkey here falling for the stinky line and the stinky cheese, right? But I mean, 4.5. I think the Bears offense is good enough to put up points against this Washington defense. And great job by Washington after getting down early to the Chargers. They rally. Jaden Daniels is a difference maker. You got the number 1 versus number 2 overall picks from last year's draft, and certainly that's going to be a storyline here. I just think with extra week to prepare, Ben Johnson will have this offense doing some stuff that we might not expect. You can see some trick plays down the field. I think Chicago keeps it within the 4.5. Although they probably won't be able to slow down Washington very much with that banged up secondary.
RJ, wait. Have you ever heard either a lion or a donkey falling for the stinky cheese, or did Will just make that up? Because I've never
Will likes to combine phrases. The problem is, though, I feel like I'm the donkey the other way. Because this look-ahead line was -5. It drops to 4.5. The Bears don't play. Washington dominates the Chargers. Why is the line going down off the look-ahead? Washington looked great in that game against the Chargers. Might even get a key player back in Terry McLaurin. May not even need him against a Bears defense that's been questionable all year. Chicago's defense had 4 turnovers in its last 2 games before the bye. Needed that last-second field goal block still to beat a bad Raiders team. I don't think this Bears team has proven itself enough to be on that level of the Commanders. I think this line should be 6. So I love the Commanders here.
Yeah, well, it didn't make sense. Like in my head, I'm thinking, I'm like, not a
Stinky
bad
cheese, donkeys,
No, it doesn't make sense. What does make sense is looking at Bill Krosky-Merritt. I haven't seen any props up for him yet, but I absolutely love this guy. I'm jumping all over his overs. He's coming off a 100-yard, 2-touchdown, 40 receiving yard game. I'd look to rushing, I'd look to receiving, but certainly rushing. The Bears are allowing the most rush yards a game to running backs, over 6 yards a carry, which also leads. He's top 5 in avoided tackle rate. I love what he's doing, and he's so happy. I don't know if you guys saw him talking to Tom Brady after the game. Smiling ear to ear, great smile. He's just so happy to be out there, and he's a baller. So I'm going to look to Bill Krosky-Merritt. All right, we got best bets coming for you guys, but first let's take a look back at the week that was with Week 5 and see how we did. Do we have those records up? Like RJ said, I did pretty well. RJ did well. Will, I don't know how you did. Let's find out.
I think I did 0-1.
Okay.
I remember I switched to Devontae Adams in the last second. I can't remember what I switched from. Adams didn't get the end zone. The Rams lost. Rams have been burning me a couple times so far this year.
Yeah, and RJ, what'd you have last week? Do we remember?
Ravens team total under.
Yes.
Didn't come close.
All right, and Larry, who is not here, I'll start with his best bet of this week. He's going to go with the Commanders. He is laying 3.5. He'll be back with us next week. Let's move on to the rest of our best bets. RJ, we'll start with you. Yeah,
he got a great number there. He sent it in Monday morning. It's up to 4.5 now. I still love that. That almost was my best bet. I'm taking the Steelers -5, though. Even 5.5, I would play it. With the low total, this line's still low to me. I disagree with the move off the -6 look ahead. I think we're getting good value there, and they win this by a touchdown at least.
Okay, and Will, I know we talked about the Lions not too long ago. You're going to go with them?
Yeah, I just realized I think I'm like undefeated when I don't bet on the Rams. So good look to the Lions here. Like I said, maybe the best team in football, playing awesome at every level on both sides of the football right now. They believe that the window is firmly open in terms of them making another Super Bowl run, particularly with all the injuries and how into the AFC. And then on the NFC side, you have Green Bay really just like cranking that window back open for a division run, and that look at the 1 seed for Detroit and home field advantage throughout. I like the Lions to go into Kansas City, win the game outright. They don't back down at all under Dan Campbell. Think it wouldn't be unreasonable for this to be a pick 'em.
Well, I hope you're wrong about the Rams' bad juju, because I'm going to go with them and their team total over 25 in the hook. Of course, we got to keep an eye on this Ravens injury report, but even when they were healthy on defense, they still had a lot of holes there, and this Rams squad has outgained every single opponent. I gave you all the stats on Matthew Stafford. Their backfield looks good. So is it just bad juju all around because of you with this Rams team, Will, or is my team total safe this week?
Might be my fault. Could absolutely be my fault.
I'm going to hit you with. So, all right, RJ, week 7, look ahead. What you got?
Cardinals plus 5.5 against the Packers. I think that line is way too high at home.
Okay. All right, Will, any last thoughts?
No? Let's go Rams.
Early edge. Don't forget, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. You can catch us in the crew. And go check out SportsLine for all these picks and more. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out with us.